Hey Malifaux fans, this is Crazy Carl back with another Malifaux video battle report. Sorry for the big space between videos. I just haven't played a lot lately. It's just kind of how life has gone. But today I have a 35 Soulstone game for you. It was Nicodem, played by me, versus Pat Lane playing Perdita. Pat doesn't play Perdita very often because I think he picked it up for his girlfriend to play, but every once in a while he likes to bring her out. And I had Nicodem for the first time, and I was really looking forward to get him on the table. So I brought along Nico. I had Mortimer, Dead Rider, Sue, 2 Cannon Remains, and Necrotic Machine for our shared distract. I had 7 Soulstones. I took Army of the Dead and Breakthrough, because I don't take Army of the Dead with my other Rezzers, and I thought it'd be fun to do it for once. Pat brought along Perdita with Nino, Santiago, Von Schill, and Abuela with a 6 Soulstone cache. He had Bodyguard on Perdita and Exterminate Living, because I had 3 living models. I thought the Bodyguard on Perdita was kind of interesting, but his argument was that if Von Schill gets paralyzed, he just dies and can't get the slow to die action. So I guess I could see that, but I still think I kind of disagree because Von Schill still has armor and all that jazz, but what are you going to do? So here you can see turn 1. Pat had a big advance. He just moved Perdita right up the board, put her right behind that pillar there, which was in the center of the board. So I decided, because I out-activated him because I had so many models, to use the Dead Rider to pull up Nicodem, and after Mortimer had given him a corpse counter, because I used Sue to draw a bunch of cards, so just a little bit out of order there. Nico was able to summon a Punk Zombie, which I wanted to get an attack on Perdita with its CB9, but she had a 13 to dodge the attack, so I didn't hit it. Here you can see how I split up my crew. I dropped Nicodem on the other side of that cliff there with the Dead Rider. Mortimer sat there so he could send off the corpse counter. And I brought Sue and the Necrotic Machine kind of around the flank just to kind of give me a little bit of board control in that part of the board. It's a good combo. The Necrotic Machine makes Sue undead and then casts Decay on Sue after Sue's cut himself with Hurt to draw cards. And that really helped me keep my summoning engine going. It was really, really useful for the entire game. Here you can see the rest of his models kind of moved up. Abuela is behind that little hill there. I think there's a picture of her a little bit later on. And Nino is kind of moving up into position because that hill's a really good sniper position. If you could see the board at the beginning of the game. You have to climb up it, and I don't have a lot of fast models. Well, I have some fast ones, but not enough that's going to really be able to get to Nino without handling the other stuff first. So he had a nice spread there, and there you can see Abuela sitting in the back. I guess she was going to be there for obeying and things like that, which she ended up doing very, very well later on. And Santiago moved off kind of on his own, and Von Schill was hiding behind a pillar, because I think Pat was afraid of me paralyzing him, because it's a pretty good thing to do. But as he realized, Spellbreaker's a really, really good ability, and Spellbreaker is very, very useful in this game, as you'll see later on. So, with Von Schill behind that pillar there, I had the Dead Rider activate, gave him fast, and pulled Von Schill back to my guys, just so it'd be a little bit easier. Put him in recharge range of the Punk Zombie, summoned some more guys. Did I summon another Punk Zombie? I think I might have, but I pulled him there, and I had Nicodem paralyze Von Schill. This might have been after Von Schill attacked, I'm not sure, but basically the turn ended up with me killing Von Schill once, Von Schill healing to full, and then me paralyzing him, which was pretty brutal. I moved the dogs up to deal with Nino, because Nino had to move again to get into position and wasn't able to kill anything off. I think he got a shot off on my Dead Rider, which didn't do very much, and Santiago also did not do very much. He had a tough time that turn. And the dogs can keep Nino tied up in melee, which means he's not going to be able to shoot, and that's pretty good. However, turn 3, I ended up pulling, I think turn 3 is actually the turn I paralyzed Von Schill. I killed him, and he healed the full with the Red Joker, and paralyzed him afterwards, because I'm like, well, I can't deal with it again, I just need to knock him down. Pat had a good idea with Perdita. You can see she moved up behind that pillar there, and she was going to move around to get in range to dispel the mist with Spellbreaker. We weren't sure exactly how that worked. We didn't know if you could Spellbreaker off of the aura, or if you had to target the model to actually cast it. As it was, we said just target the model to cast it, which he did, and I think somebody on the forums corroborated that, so it worked out pretty well. And he was able to remove the Paralyze from Von Schill, which was nice, because I had summoned a Flesh Construct that was going to take a big chunk out of him. So Pat moved Von Schill up onto that hill there so he could get some shots off, but he was going to be in cover. He's going to give me cover because I had the miss up. Actually, no, Pat, we ended up just not Spellbreaking because we didn't know how it worked. So Pat just Spellbreakered the Paralyze off Von Schill, and Von Schill flew up, took some shots at Nicodem. Nicodem, even with Soulstones and him having negative flips and cheating, still got hit twice, and it put him down really low. Fortunately, I was able to move up the dogs to occupy Nino, and Abuela decided to come up and try and help Nino out, because Nino has, I think, CB3 with his close combat weapon, and requires a reasonably high mask to be able to just run away with his 0 action. So that was a good idea on his part, and I had faith the dogs would be alright, especially since if he decided to try and just disengage in general, he's going to be at -2 defense and not be in very good shape. Here you can see Santiago, who didn't do a whole lot the whole game. I probably did a good job of staying out of his line of sight. Other than that, like I said, he didn't do very much. He did take some shots at the Dead Rider at one point when he was out in the open, but with between the hard to wound and having a bunch of wounds, he wasn't able to do very much. I think he got him down to like 2 or 3 wounds, but I was able to heal him back up between regeneration and adjust purpose. So here you can see the aftermath of turn 4, which was a big deal. The Dead Rider, I think, got a big hit off on Perdita. The Punk Zombie flurried and did a lot of damage to her as well, getting her down to like 1 or 2 wounds. Flesh Construct hit her, Mortimer hit her. It really taxed his cards. Unfortunately, Nicodem died, which is the corpse counter next to the unpainted Punk Zombie there. But I was able to use the Punk Zombie to flurry and kill... sorry, the Punk Zombie didn't attack Perdita, it attacked Von Schill and killed Von Schill, and he was out of Soulstones. Dead Rider moved around to assist Sue, and Sue is moving up the board to try and deal with Nino and Abuela after the dogs would eventually die because they weren't going to be able to do it on their own. So, nice shot there. I'm really looking forward to getting that Dead Rider painted up. I've got a neat little conversion idea for him when I'm all finished with him, so I'll have pictures of that up at some point. So here you can see one of the dogs is still alive after a turn of Abuela and Nino trying to deal with them. Abuela was actually able to kill off the dog in the back, which was good for him, but he still had to deal with the other one to get Nino able to do anything, which was really good for me, because normally Nino is a good way to project force out on the board, and Pat wasn't able to do that. So eventually, long story short, I got some more attacks on Perdita. I think the Dead Rider got a hit on her when he had poison on his attack, and as a result, she was stuck on poison 2 with 2 wounds, so as you can tell, she probably died, which she did. I was able to then focus some fire onto Santiago. Here you can see him in his pre-death state, and Santiago went down. But the way the rest of the game worked out is Abuela was able to kill off the Dead Rider, and I had to use Mortimer, because the other cannon remains died, to pick up the corpse counters, which allowed me to get 2 points for Army of the Dead, and we both got distracted because we killed each other's masters, so... The game ended up with Pat not getting any of his schemes. Perdita died, and he was not able to kill Mortimer or Sue. He only got the easy one, Nicodem. And I was able to get the 2 points for Army of the Dead, and I wasn't able to get Breakthrough because he red jokered and killed off my Dead Rider. So the game ended up being 6-4. A great game, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.